Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with the Kai'Sa basic guide. So now let's jump straight into Kai'Sa's overview. Basically, Kai'Sa is a assassin style AD carry. So basically what Kai'Sa does is she's able to burst down squishy targets in more or less like one combo, using her ult to dive the backline and using her Q on one target, firing like 12 missiles into their back. She's easily able to assassinate squishy targets like enemy ADCs or enemy mages, and using that she can win the fight. However, she is also able to be played front to back just like any other ADC, where she is a late game hyper carry, and you know, when you get yourself to like 2-3 items, she's gonna start doing insane amounts of damage and you can stay in the safety of your backline and DPS the enemy team. So next, let's take a look at Kai'Sa's skills, and to do that we're gonna jump straight into the practice mode. Now that was really glitchy by the game. It turned out to kind of sort of semi-load the practice mode and at the same time still have some of the buttons there, but no idea what happened there. But anyways, we're going to jump into the practice mode and explain her skills, as well as of course her passive. So first things first, let's just hop over to a certain spot and explain. So let's just go over here, not waste too much time. So her first passive is basically whenever you attack an enemy, you stack a plasma. So basically, like you can see, there's one stack here, 2 stacks, 3 stacks, 4 stacks, and on your 5th stack you're gonna explode the plasma to do extra damage. So once again, you guys can see here, boom, on the 5th stack you explode the plasma for extra magic damage that scales off of magic damage. So she has another passive which involves her ability evolutions, and we'll go through that in a little bit. So her first ability, basically what it does is it fires, it has a relatively short range, and it fires missiles to everybody who's in the range. So for example, the range is like so. So if there's only one enemy there, you're gonna fire all the missiles into one enemy. However, if there are 2 enemies, for example, the missiles are going to be equally distributed amongst the 2 enemies. And likewise, if there are 3 enemies, you're going to distribute it equally among the 3 enemies. So, next up we have her W. So her W is a very long range kind of skill shot. So here you guys can see it fires to like you know, further than like what you can see in your base screen. So when you're aiming it, you are able to of course see further. And yeah, so it's pretty far. So just like for some gauge of how far it is, you're able to fire into like the dragon pit from like the red buff pit area. So here, like from the red buff pit, I can actually fire into the dragon pit. So it does give vision. So something you can do is you can use it to scout objectives, check if they're doing the dragon like that, and there's nothing they can really do to stop you from checking. So what it does is it of course hits the first enemy, so it can be blocked. For example, I can only hit this first target dummy, and what it does is that it applies 2 stacks of plasma as well as deals a little bit of magic damage. So now on her E, what you get with your E is basically you're gonna charge up and gain movement speed for a second, and during which time you're unable to attack. But afterwards, you guys can see the ring around the E which is going down, after which you are going to be able to get bonus attack speed, and every single attack you deal, for example like this, reduces the cooldown by like half a second. So the more you attack, the faster you're gonna get your E back up. So lastly is her ultimate. You guys can see that there is a sort of circle around it. So when someone is marked with the plasma, what you are able to do is you're able to jump to them. So you can kind of pick a spot, like for example here, and you can jump straight to them, and you will gain a small shield. So once again, for example, we got our plasma on this guy, we can jump all the way over here and gain a shield. So this is what you kind of use to assassinate the backline. So for example, you know, this is a backline target, you can of course get the plasma in and then you can jump to it. Normally you're not the one you know, putting on the plasma, because any of your team's CC is able to apply the plasma as well. So normally, for example, Aster goes in, you know, CCs all of them, and you're able to jump straight in. It's normally not you that's applying CC to the backline, because you don't want to put yourself in danger. So now let's talk about her passive, which is evolving her skills. So this is the new like reworked Kai'Sa passive, where basically if you get a completed item. So that's a tier 3 item, for example. This one, the Storm Razor, you are able to evolve a skill. So here I'm going to evolve my Q. Basically what Q evolve does is it doubles the amount of missiles. So here from 6 it's now 12 missiles, like that. And then your W evolution, what it does is basically, I don't know what I'm doing there, I should be buying items. So W evolution, what it does basically is when you evolve W, you will apply 3 stacks instead of 2, and on hit you will reduce its cooldown by 70%. So if I put cooldowns back on, you guys can see here, from 18 seconds it goes to 5 seconds when it hits. Of course, like for example here, when it hits 18 seconds to 5 seconds, however, if you miss, it's going to be on full cooldown. So here, if I just randomly launch it, it's going to go on full cooldown. So your E evolve, basically what it does is, when you evolve E, you're going to get invisibility during your charge up time, so you're going to be invisible, enemies cannot see you, and that is basically it. So for Kai'Sa's leveling order, it's pretty straightforward. So if we reset level here, you take Q at level 1, W at level 2 to get your trait combo. So something you can do with Kai'Sa, which we'll take a look at the combos later, is you can use your Q and W combo when you're at lower levels. So after that, you take your E, you max your Q first, of course you take your ult whenever available, then you max E second, and finally you max your W last. Okay, so let's talk about some of the Kai'Sa combos. So your like level 2 combo, what you can do is, let's go to somewhere else. So here, for example, what you can do when you're level 2 is, this applies 2 stacks. So normally what happens is, your support lands CC, so you're going to have 1 stack on the enemy. You Q W, and then this basically, you auto attack twice, and this will proc all the stacks. So remember, your support already, helped you to put 1 stack. And actually, that's not really the combo. It's not QW, but it's more of WQ. Because in your W animation, you guys can see in this animation, I can't attack. I'm spamming my attack button, but I cannot attack. So what you really want to do is you can Q during your W. So what you want to do here is you can WQ, and then you can just attack and proc the passive for a very good trait. Aside from that, Kai'Sa doesn't really have any combos, because basically if you want to like all in, your main combo is going to be like you E to get ready, you go in, you QW, and then you just start blasting people. When your Q comes back up, you just use your Q again. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated about Kai'Sa. So for tips and tricks on Kai'Sa, again, nothing really much. Kai'Sa used to be really complicated, but has been kind of dumbed down with the new passive rework. But basically, you always want to evolve Q first, then E, and then W, assuming you're going for a crit, like AD Kai'Sa build. If you're going for like an AP build, maybe you want to evolve your W first, or if not Q, then W, something like that. We might take a look at that one day, but probably not. But yeah, basically that's your evolution order. And something else you want to take note of mainly is you want to pay attention to who has stacks. So for example, if there is a team fight happening here, and you have multiple enemies, let's say your team is actually fighting, and you are like somewhere all the way back here, you're running to the fight. Let's say some enemies might have gotten CC. Let's say that these people got comboed by an Alistar. You can see that you can actually dash into the fight from a long ways away like this, and you can just join in the fight from out of nowhere. People won't be suspecting it, and that's the main thing you really want to be aware of on Kai'Sa. But of course, you don't want to just randomly jump in and just get CC'd and die, something like that. But that's basically one of the main things you want to take note of, and that is like basically it for the Kai'Sa Basics Guide. So thank you so much for watching the video, and goodbye.